Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today we're flying the Cirrus again. Going from Fairbanks, Alaska up to Chandalar Lake. I've been in and out of both of these airports before, but I haven't actually flown this direct route. It's gonna be quite a pretty one. It's gonna be... oh, I'll tell you. Just a second. Approximately 53 minutes, because the game said something like an hour and 20, and that's not right. I think we'll be going at 24,000 feet, maybe a little lower, but we'll figure that out. This needs to be readjusted. Hour 28, the game says. That's not right. It's closer to 50-55 minutes. And... supposed to start around there. I hope. Did it load it right? I think it did. Okay, yeah, so 53 minutes, Fairbanks to Chandalar Lake, 24,000 feet. Climb aboard, let's go flying.
Choppers, better took those risks. One of my fists, we fire starters. One of a million will reach those heights. Always had a feeling that I won't deny that work. Never could toss. Look at my eyes, I'm on the rocks.
There we are, and yeah, I can see it better today. The scenery for this airport is... Did you see that? Just walked through the tail of the plane. As soon as it's loading in, the guy just he walks up to the plane and then he stops and then he just walks right through the tail of the plane. Here he goes again! Oh my gosh. Oh my! Alright, says the wind is about 190 at 7. Altitude? No, that's not right. It's about 400 feet up. I can't believe I witnessed that. I mean, I can. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator. But still. Alright, let's go. First things first, battery switch is on. Uh-oh. Oh. Now I've got to plug the flight controls in. Had them unplugged so I could charge my headset. Oh, come on now. Nope, I think that's okay. A little bit buggy there. Okay, yeah, no, we're good. Alright. Battery switches are on 25.8 volts, -4 on the amps, 25 Celsius here on the ground in Fairbanks. Strobe lights, mixture full forward. Or sorry, mixture full rich. Throttle or power lever forward. Fuel pump on boost. Clear the prop area. It's clear. Pull the power back and bump it about a 1/4 inch up. That's good there. Clear. Right, engine is started. Go ahead and lean the mixture. We're looking for peak RPM. There, we went past. About 1405 is the peak. Yeah. It's good right there. Power back down idle to 1000. Oil pressure is good. Temperature is rising. Let's turn the alternator switches on. Now we have positive amperage. Avionics on. Engine parameters are looking good so far. External power wasn't applied. Amp meter, yeah, those all look good. Alright, next. Little bit of lag there. Yep. Flaps are up, radios are good. Fuel selector, switch. Go ahead and do that. Alright, get ready to taxi here. We probably could take 2-0 left. Let's get out of that there. Yeah, we'll take 2-0 left. Alright, let's look up. Check the brakes. Good. Let's turn our nav lights on. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. There's a sign like right there. It's stuttering, probably because the scenery hasn't really loaded. This actually does look really good though. And actually here's 2-0 left. So this isn't the start, that's the next one up, but this is fine right here. Hold the brakes, come down, set the parking brake. Okay, let's go ahead and do a run up. Real nice short taxi. Alright, fuel quantity is good. We don't need to switch the tanks. It's fine there. Fuel pump is set to boost. We go ahead and pull the mixture full rich. Flaps go down to half. We'll check them in a second. While we're at it, set the transponder altitude 0, 1, 2. Half on the left, half on the right. Looks good.
Engaging autopilot.
Good. While we're at it, we'll configure 110. Altitude we're going at 24,000 as planned. It's kind of high for a short flight, but we can always adjust that. We're not going to get much higher than that. If we find that it's just not practical, we can level off at probably 20,000. I don't think we go lower than that. We don't need any of those there. Nav on, runway heading. $200. Just in case. VNav on. Alright, autopilot is configured. Let's go ahead, take the power up to 1700 RPM. Alright, landing lights, ice light, pitot heat on. Amperage is not discharging, voltage is good. No enunciators. We can go ahead and turn the pitot heat off, turn the ice light off, leave landing light on because we're getting ready to depart. Let's get ready to do the mag drop, so we're gonna go, let's see, we're at 1694, let's go to the right. Good, back to both. To the left. Good. Back to both. Engine instruments are looking good. Go ahead, pull the power back to idle. Good. Let's grab the weather real quick, just see. Make sure no changes. 1907, 10 miles visibility, 6,000 view, 14 scattered, 20,000 broken, 26 Celsius, 2979 on the altimeter. Okay, look at this here. Smoke all quadrants. Yeah, it's probably from the wildfires that are going on up there. Of course, I'm glad it's not sitting in this time. Although, since we're going out, it isn't as tough as trying to come in with all of that fog or smoke, haze, etc. Alright, let's check the flight controls, make sure they are free and correct. Rudder's good. Elevator's good. Ailerons are good. Back into the cockpit. Last thing to do is set. Take off trim. Set. And zoom out on the range. Release the parking brake. It's going to be a left turn onto the runway. Really? Oh, come on, there's two of them. Crazy people, crazy. And here's a third one that's coming this way. It's probably going to drive right through my airplane as I'm out on the runway. No, he's actually not. We're turning here, so he can't. Alright, we are lined up. We're going to rotate at 77. We're going to climb out 440. So when we get to 1200, we'll engage the autopilot. We could turn as long as we are at 900 or higher. And start a turn to on course. And yeah, once we get to 1200, we'll engage the autopilot and proceed direct on course to Chandalar Lake. Here we go. Engine instruments are good. Airspeed is alive. $77, rotate. We're up. Positive rate. Oh, that looks so cool. Flaps up. $900, let's go ahead and turn on course. Bring the nose down a little bit here. That's the Tanana River. Inner marker. And autopilot engaged. Alright, let's go ahead and run through. Ooh, that is a little bit of lag from the airport scenery, but it looks really good. And that's just the inner marker beeping. Alright, we can turn the landing light off. Yeah, wow, only 1,500 feet and a 7 degrees Celsius drop. 8 degree. Wow. Alright, we're tracking on course, that's good. It's a little bit bumpy over here. Alright, let's go into the, full power climb. There's full forward, mixtures in the green, flaps are up, airspeed we're gonna set to 110. This says 120, but we're okay at 110 as long as our temperatures stay under control. With a properly leaned mixture, that should not be a problem. Fuel pump stays on boost, and we just keep an eye on those all. And I will go ahead and reset the cruise checklist. Now we can just I'll sit back here for a little bit. Look outside. There's the city of Fairbanks. Grab a quick view out this way. Now that airport really looks good. It's so cool because you have the main runway, the second runway, and you have a gravel strip or a ski strip in the winter, and then you have this for float planes. And all of Fairbanks over here. Downtown's right there. Some pretty neat stuff around here. It's sure is warm here in the summer. If people don't know it, Fairbanks gets extremely cold in the winter. And I'm looking, I believe Denali is back there. I'm not certain of that though. Let's go ahead back into the cockpit. So, the route that we're planning, show you on the map, this is the Tanana River. And this is Fairbanks Airport. This is the Chino River. Line over a couple little grass fields. Fly over some mountains here. And then we'll cross up. This is the Yukon River. Over here's Fort Yukon where we flew yesterday. And a couple other towns that come around here. And Prospect Creek, and then Chandalar Lake, kind of at the southern start, almost, of the Brooks Range. Galbraith Lake, and Aktuvuk Pass is over here, Arctic Village is over here. So we're kind of right halfway between, well, actually, yeah, halfway between these two, and halfway pretty much between these two. So there's a good central location there. Indicated pitot heaters requires only 3 degrees Celsius at 18,000 feet. Right. Got a nice tailwind, that's helping us out. I'm thinking we may level off at 20,000 feet. I don't think it's going to be necessary to go all the way to 24. Actually, no. It's a big time saver going up to 24. It's actually a 6-minute difference. between 20 and 24, which is unusual because usually it will take longer because you have to factor in the longer cruise. I don't know why it's... Yeah, actually, I really don't know why it's actually calculating that like that, but, yeah, I mean, okay. Whatever, either way. High clouds. These are more the foothills of these mountains. That's rain up ahead. Looks like there are some rain showers, and Chandalar Lake does not have weather reporting. The closest airport that has weather to Chandalar is Coldfoot. The problem is the weather can be so localized. The other thing is Chandalar does not have a weather camera. Looks decent at Coldfoot. It's also not bad at Inaktuvik Pass. Can't see Arctic Village. Prospect Creek doesn't have weather showing up. Bettles doesn't have weather showing up. And the weather is not good at Fort Yukon. Yeah, so we'll just continue and hope it's good because Chandalar Lake does not have any instrument approaches. So we have to be able to see the airport from a safe altitude to be able to continue to descend and land. We should probably come up with a plan, which would probably be, if we cannot make it to Chandalar Lake, then we go up to Galbraith Lake or over to Coldfoot. It's to the west. Little southwest. So here's Fairbanks, the Tanana River. Here's the Yukon River. Prospect Creek is here. Coldfoot is just the next airport up. Here it is. Not all that far. The other option would be to go up here to Galbraith Lake. That'd be a bit further. Actually, it looks like the weather on the North Slope is actually quite good today for the most part. Alright, got our mixture leaned out a little bit.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head.
One thing I'd like to do, maybe in some future videos, is go through the flight planning process, which is how I determine which routes I want to go, the altitude at which I determine I'm going to go, kind of the factors of choosing where to fly depending on the weather, the instrument approaches that are available in case the weather gets worse than expected, stuff like that, all the different factors that we have to keep in mind. Y'all could definitely let me know if you'd be interested in seeing the flight planning process before I actually load in and begin a flight. Yeah, there's actually very good weather along the North Slope, overall. don't see weather reporting at Chandalar Lake, but it looks... Right now it looks, from what I can see, pretty good overall. It's warm. It's probably about 19 Celsius on the ground there. Minus 20 up here. Oh, okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and set the altimeter to standard pressure. Above 18,000 feet. And yeah, 50 minutes en route. Yeah, we definitely just continue the way up to 24,000. Who doesn't like the view at 24,000 feet anyway? I mean, it's even better than it is at 20. Unless you're trying to look really close at the ground for something. Then it's not. But out here, if you're trying to look really close at the ground for something, you're probably doing something wrong. Or you are on a search and rescue mission, or you are like flying a bush plane trying to camp. Which we are not doing the second, we are not doing the third, so if we are really close and can see the ground in great detail, we are doing something seriously wrong. So the clouds are actually higher than 20,000 over here. Almost like the layer's broken at 20... I bet you they're above 24,000. I have a feeling these clouds may be at 30,000. Maybe not 30. Fuel imbalance. Oh, yeah, we haven't even leveled off. Switch. So, when I like to fly in Hawaii or French Polynesia or different parts of tropical areas or something like that, these flowers on the wingtips and the wings and stuff like that, it really fits the theme well. These tropical flowers on the wings in Alaska? I don't think so. As cool as it looks. About 500 feet to go. So we level off a cruise. Oh, we're losing manifold pressure already because of the altitude. I'll explain that in a minute. Alright, well there's our cruise altitude. Let's go ahead and do our checklist. Power level reduced to 30.5, but when you get close to the service ceiling in this airplane, which is 25,000 feet, density altitude. And I'll explain that in a moment. When you get closer to the service ceiling, you start having less available power because the air is thinner, which affects the manifold pressure. It also affects your fuel consumption and burn and everything like that. So, normally, we level off, we have to pull back on the power. Well, at full throttle, with the power lever full forward, we are getting less than 30.5, so we can actually leave it in or fine-tune it for a lower power, a more efficient cruise, but it would make the flight a little bit longer. Excuse me. Fuel pump can come off. We'll lean the mixture in a moment, and we just keep an eye on our temperatures, which right now look totally fine. Don't think we have to worry about icing. Go ahead and set the descent checklist. Leaning the mixture should be about the same. We're going to target for an increase in power. And about 20 is the sweet spot. Yeah, it starts dropping there. Now as I enrich in the mixture, the needle starts moving up and it peaks right, yeah. The peak is right at 20.0 on the fuel flow. And that puts us very close to the to VNO. VNO goes down above 17,500, and so we're close to it. So we actually could come back on the power until we have about 75% power, which would actually give us just a little bit longer in the air. We could even come back to just straight up 80%. If we do that, we're actually really not losing much speed. Still, our true airspeed's right at about 220. And we'll keep it at about that, and we'll also just check the fuel. Only about a half hour en route, so we're not going to be at our cruise altitude long. If we enrich in the mixture, there's actually a slight... Yep, so we're actually going to bump it back, and then we'll just lean that to peak. Yeah, so it actually, we will leave the throttle full forward. So we're good here. I'd take a look around, flying over the edge of these mountains here. That's pretty out that way. The Yukon River is right up ahead. I don't think we're going to be able to see it. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. That layer of clouds over there looks like it's kind of obscuring some of it. But Fort Yukon, where we flew out of yesterday on our way into Fairbanks, is probably over here. Yeah, I think it is kind of below the clouds there. So we have about a nice 10 to 12 knot headwind. Minus 29 Celsius or minus 20 Fahrenheit here. So density altitude, let's go in and talk about that. Density altitude is basically the altitude taken into account for non-standard pressure and temperature. So if the air is warmer than standard, the density altitude is going to be higher. This difference of 400 feet at this altitude isn't a big difference. Now we're doing 234 over the ground. That's actually really good. About 28 minutes en route. That's going to be Stevens Village up ahead. Can't really see it at the moment. little bit of bump. So Fort Yukon's further up that way. Oh, so when we passed over the Yukon River, yeah, Fort Yukon's here. When we pass over the Yukon River, that's gonna be right about the halfway point. I would suppose. And yeah, you can kind of see the batches of rain and everything. All scattered up and around, but hopefully the weather at Chandalar Lake is going to be pretty good. I hope. We're right at actually P&O, so we may need to slow down, especially if the turbulence keeps up. Or keeps up, I should say picks up. We're actually staying just below the yellow, so we're fine there. Kind of a neat view as the Yukon starts moving down into the hills a little bit there. Because the flats, the Yukon River flats kind of end around here. Stevens Village. Now kind of right here the river widens a bit and then it narrows and it goes kind of into this. Not sure what's there. But then Tanana, and that's the town, and the Tanana River, that was where Fairbanks goes, ends up running into the Yukon. And then it does some other stuff, and you run into Ruby Galena, and then runs all the way. The Yukon River is super long. Comes out all the way out to there, and then the Yukon River Delta in the southwest of the state. I mean, the Yukon River is impressively long. Oh, and from Fort Yukon comes all the way back down here through Eagle, which we flew into, and then into the Yukon Territory in Canada, Dawson, all the way down through, then to Whitehorse, somewhere over here. Oh, no. Yukon curves back this way. This is something else. Carmax, Whitehorse, and then it goes into somewhere here, British Columbia. Juneau is right here. So that just gives you an idea of how winding all over the place and how long this river really is. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Alright, we took a look out there. We may be able to see Stevens Village, although I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to take a look. Yeah, so here's where it narrows. So, Stevens Village. It's kind of tough to tell. Oops. It's kind of at that wide point. A couple lakes around it. Yeah, so I think it's over here. But I'm not sure. I think it is. Anyway, back into the cockpit. About halfway, saying about 20 minutes en route. You can't really see it. Well, I mean, you can actually. You can see kind of a bit of a river up here. I think it's gonna actually be kind of cloudy over at the lake, from what I'm seeing at the moment. It's visual 3 or 2, 1, and it's tough to choose which runway. Just because there's no weather reporting. My guess is, oh, that's the wind up here. If we look at the weather at other airports, it's variable at Inaktuvik Pass. It's out of the southwest at Bettles. It's out of the southwest at Coldfoot. It's calm at Fort Yukon. But given that Bettles and Coldfoot are that close, I'm gonna go with visual 2-1. Will give us a top of descent here, which means actually we'll start descending in just a couple moments. And if for some reason it isn't, we just break the approach off at 1,000 feet above the ground, and we'll fly a standard traffic pattern to the, well, to runway 3, the other side. But I think 2-1, based on what the wind at other airports are doing, should be fine.
Gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, the gravity pulls you straight down.
Oh, we zoomed out. Whoa, for a minute we got to see the entire state. Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, you can see even to the north slope of up there. I meant to zoom in, and I always make the maneuver with the wheel, the direction of the wheel, incorrect, because it's counterintuitive. In fact, I could probably reprogram it. So there we passed the Yukon. If we look this way, we can actually see Beaver, which is a town just off to our right on the Yukon River somewhere over here, I believe. And then, yeah, Fort Yukon's under the clouds over that way. But from just around there, I believe this is the Chandalar River. And it runs into the Yukon from the north. And if you follow it, it splits off into a couple different branches. And if you follow one of those branches up, it takes you right into Chandalar Lake. The problem is, it's tough to tell which one because there are a lot of little branches of that river, or streams, tributaries, other creeks that run into it. And kind of the mountain passes break several ways in that area. Good news is we just fly the approach to it. So what we're probably actually gonna have to do is descend. We'll break off and fly kind of down and in, because now that I'm looking at it, there's some there's some terrain that kind of rises up here, although it does give us an option to circle around, so this could be kind of interesting. We may fly it as is. Close to top of descent point. I'm gonna look at the safe altitudes. Box. Actually, you're good to, for now, go down. We can go down to 7,600. Let's go ahead and set that. Minus 30 Celsius over here. 24,000. It's minus 22 Fahrenheit. Pretty chilly. So I think right about here is where we're starting to pass the Chandalar River. No, it's not. Never mind. That's a little further up ahead. It's just some other creek in the area. See, that's how difficult it gets to be. And just because it's so remote, there are few real good landmarks that you can use unless you get very familiar with the surrounding terrain. I imagine people who fly this route regularly probably takes them a while to get used to it, and especially if the weather's not good, you can't see as much. The upside is they have an NDB, so you can actually just fly to the NDB, so that helps, but still. If you imagine going to some of these airports that don't have an NDB. Ouch! Alright, we have started our descent and it's time to pull the power back, so we don't want to be in the yellow this whole way down. Kind of too early to do most of those descent items. That's going to be tough. Well, we're staying right on course. This is the Chandalar River that I'm looking at, I believe. It runs kind of up here. There's a branch of it. There's another branch of it. And there's a branch of it. It's a little bit bumpy over here.
The world has been broke down. The world is just announced. Vital time is now. The vital time to bow. But I will not get down. For you can't force me now. Awakening is clear.
Let's leave that about there. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the checklist. Oxygen not needed, altimeter we can't really set right now, because we don't have the local pressure at Chandalar Lake. So what we probably would do is, I don't know, this is kind of tough. We could look between yeah, it's kind of tough. So I guess we could set it to what the closest is, which is at Coldfoot, which is 2979. But there's no guarantee it's even anything close to that because the weather's so localized, especially with those valleys. But we'll go ahead and set 2979 for now. Cabin heat not needed, landing light, we'll wait to turn that on. Fuel system is okay, we're gonna get ready to switch tanks in a moment. And just need to monitor our cylinder temps. It's 284. We don't want them to go below 240. And then before landing is there. So what we'll do is stick with this for right now. Pretty as the Brooks Range is starting over here. This is all the Brooks Range. And right back here. Actually starts really over here, I guess. And then up here it kind of curves up. Look at all the airports on the north slope. Barrow, or Utqiagvik, Wainwright, Point Hope, I believe, is over there, and then you have Dead Horse and Prudhoe Bay. A couple other towns. Galbraith Lake, I'm not sure what that one is. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll look. Umiat. Oh, that's a town on a small river on the North Slope tundra. Well, I believe there's the lake. I'm almost certain that's it. It's starting to get kind of bumpy. So it actually looks like it's fairly clear in that area. As with the turbulence and stuff like that, or kind of descent rate and everything's just bumping all over the place. It is just light turbulence though, but it certainly does result in quite a bit of changes to your airspeed and altitude and your vertical speed and everything like that. But it's not a real big deal. It's all good.
The summer's calling.
Last thing, we got to be at 2749 at what point?
If the kingdom is overthrown, meet me at the cornerstone. I know that I can't be without you. This bond is solid.
Yeah, that's definitely the lake.
We're a diamond and an emerald. It took me forever to find you. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way.
A little funny story, I remember back in the days of Flight Sim 10, which I had about 15 years ago. I found this airport, and I flew in something small, and I said, I wonder if I can take a jet off from this runway. Well, it was in the winter time that I was playing it, and the temperature at this airport was about 60 below, and when it's that cold, the air is so dense and all and whatnot. I got an airliner off of that gravel strip. I don't know, maybe we'll play around and do something like that with this one. In this simulator, I mean. Could take, at that temperature, you could probably take a small plane like this, just full throttle, and the plane would pretty much, without any hesitation, just lift right up off the ground.
I know that we can rise together. This vision that we share is ours. Together we can touch the stars. I know that we will see.
Yeah, up in here, all this part of the interior of the state, the cold air is really trapped in the valley because it's surrounded by mountains. And parts of these parts of the state, Prospect Creek holds the record low temperature in Alaska. Fort Yukon used to hold the record low in Alaska. Bettles, Chandalar Lake, areas like this tend to get ridiculously cold in the winter. And it's starting to get bumpy over here. It's probably coming over the mountains. Alright, not too much longer to go. We go ahead and turn the landing light on, and let's switch the fuel to the right-hand tank. There's the airport. Here's what I'm actually going to do for a moment. I'm going to disengage the autopilot. And we're going to try to pitch this up to try to stabilize this descent. Because we're starting to get a little bit of oscillation. This is where the aircraft just kind of starts going in waves a little bit. It pitches down and then it levels off, and it's the autopilot trying to correct the turbulence.
Engaging autopilot.
Let's see how that does. No, I don't think it's gonna help. Alright, we're gonna fly down by hand. And here's actually what we can do. We can cut the power right now. And we can just descend to the airport. And we can put flaps in, which will steepen our descent rate. We're below 150, we can go half flaps now. It is getting kind of bumpy. Oh, look at the rainbow right there. That's cool. It's probably from the sun, and there are a couple rain showers around here at the moment. Here's a better view of the lake. See, here's what's tricky about trying to fly this approach because of the mountain kind of off the end of this. You almost kind of have to come in on runway 3, it looks like, but we're not going to. Let's get nice and zoomed in. Oh, we've got to pitch up. We don't want to let our airspeed go above 150 and overspeed the flap.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun.
Now, if we had a seaplane, we just land on the lake.
Going nowhere, I swear.
Unfortunately, that is not an option with this plane.
Dangerous, but it's
Anybody got some floats we can borrow?
running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go.
Yeah, so what we may end up doing is adding some. See, here's the tricky thing, is we really can't turn that way. Tell you what, let's go full flaps. We're gonna land runway 3. We'll deal with the higher power. And the tailwind. Or, oh, we're overspeeding. That's the problem, the descent rate. Pick up some speed that way. Should I'll give you a warning. If you're a couple knots over, it's probably not a big deal. Although you're supposed to treat it as though it is. But you get that notice there is probably at the point where you could do some damage. And this is where we have to make a sharp turn, and this is not really something that I like to do. We're doing okay. No, we're high. We're gonna have to force this plane down to the ground this way. We may end up going missed here.
Say, what will you do with your life?
500
200.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of runway to work with. Yep, no, we're not doing that. Alright, let's go around. Alright, flaps up to half. We're gonna climb. In fact, we weren't even all the way set in. Let's go mixture full rich. Which we should have done on final approach. We weren't even ready because we were trying to descend. Definitely going around was the right thing to do here. Now flaps up. So we get to come around and get another nice pretty view of the lake. Flap 2,900 feet. That was a messy approach. And that happens. So when that happens, you just go around. I can pull back to a cruise of and we just fly over the lake. It's almost like we're gonna do like a steep kind of power 180. Yeah, we're flying too. That turn was a bit steep. We lost altitude in that because we got steep. Man, we're not doing this very well. This is a tough airport to fly into, especially if you have to use the 2-1. Let's take power idle, and let's go ahead and go half laps immediately. This would be a lot easier if you're in something like a Cub, where your approach speed is like 45 knots as opposed to almost 100. Alright, let's make the turn. Easy here, because we don't have a lot of room to work with. Yeah, ooh, this is low. Alright, full flaps. That terrain just kind of slopes up there. And now the wind is coming down the runway, that's better. Let's do that, try to taper off the and let's go ahead and take power out. Don't 3-point it. No, that wasn't too bad. Could have been worse. Whoa. Whoa! Boy, losing control there, and then gravel was uneven, which kind of makes that happen. Oh, but yeah, I'll tell you what, that wasn't terrible of a landing, it was a pretty bad approach. And yeah, we hit the brakes and you can see the nose wheel kind of shimmying too. Adds that effect there. Hit these brakes and it shimmies. If anything, we have a gorgeous view rolling down the runway out over the lake. I'm not happy with that approach at all. That was bad. Like, that was actually kind of dangerous, and I would highly recommend that nobody do that in the real world. I think, given the circumstances, if I would have done that another way, we would just come in and land on runway 4. Or 3. Alright, parking brake is set. Alright, well, we're on the ground, safe after all. Let's go ahead and do some checklists. We gotta do is just transponder. Oh, come on! There we go. Ain't the way that clicks. Landing lights off. Pitot heat off. We didn't turn that to boost. We forgot to do that. Yeah, just a messy approach and landing overall. But we're good on that, and I know the shutdown checklist pretty well by now, so all that is power idle. We'll bring the flaps up before we shut any power off too. Power idle. Mixture cut off. And it's 19 Celsius on the ground here. That's actually a pretty good guess. I thought it was about 19 Celsius. That's beautiful. That's actually quite nice weather here. It's just a beautiful view of the lake over there too. This is one of, in my opinion, one of the prettiest spots in Alaska. And it's the thing about it is it's so remote and tucked away that it's not one of the widely popular places. Alright, idle cut off. We can go ahead and turn lights off. We can turn switches off. Go off on the magnetos and ignition switch and cut the avionics. All switches are off. And yeah, just look at that. That's gorgeous. Alright folks, well, welcome to Chandalar Lake Airport. Hope you enjoyed the flight. Hope you have you aboard on the next one, even if I kinda had a couple questionable decisions during the approach. It happens. And the good news is it's a simulator, and you can use it to practice and understand what was good decision making and what wasn't, and what you would do differently, and kind of take the experience and improve upon it for the next flight. Alright, anyway, until then, as always, folks, take care, stay safe.